Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I'm bringing you some PTCG radio news featuring Pokémon Gold and Silver, Pokémon Go, and of course, the Pokémon trading card game. Now, first of all, we are getting collections, little boxes centered around Scizor EX and Kingdra EX. Now, there are a couple of important things about Scizor and Kingdra. Firstly, these are EXs which have already been released, and they've both seen a little bit of play, more on that in a moment, but also these are second generation Pokemon that evolved from first generation Pokemon. Scizor, of course, did evolve from Scizor, who was in the original Generation 1, by which I mean the Red and Blue Pokemon games. He came out in Gold and Silver as a new evolution, and in Red and Blue we had Horsey and Seadra that could then evolve into Kingdra in Gold and Silver. Now, the boxes we are getting have some booster packs, and they have a reprint, both in normal and jumbo form, of Kingdra and Scizor. Now, the Kingdra one isn't terribly exciting. It's not a particularly great card. It did see a little bit of play in the Rainbow Force Xerneas decks because they needed a dragon Pokemon, and Kingdra's a basic, so it could be grabbed with Hooper and all of that. But it was just an EX to grab. Now, it was replaced after a while with the promo Flygon, because the Flygon's got the cool ability that you can force your opponent to switch their active when Flygon's in the active, so a couple times a game you could use that ability when you could afford to put Flygon in the active, and it could be a bit of help. Scizor was a much better Pokemon. He saw quite a bit of play for quite a while there. Big problem with Scizor is that he is weak to Volcanion, and it really did see very little play because of that. Some Scizor decks did start playing Silent Lab to turn off Volcanion EX, in tandem with Red Card to put the size of their hand down. It worked for a little while. Unfortunately, Scizor never was amazing. Now, it did have its place due to the fact that it could hit for weakness on Mega Gardevoir and Xerneas decks, and 120 for 2 energy, discarding a special energy or a stadium can be pretty fun. I've done a video about Scizor, link in the description. Scizor's very much a matchup Pokemon. If you're against things like Mega Gardevoir and Xerneas, you are quids in, but if you're against things like Volcanion, you are quids out. If that counts as an expression, and I'm going to claim that it does. Of course, if you do want to play Scizor, this box does not give you everything you need. You will need to track down the Mega as well. So first of all, props to Pokemon for re-releasing a couple of these EXs that people might want, especially Scizor, that is very playable. But what does this mean for Pokemon Go? Well, it means we're getting Generation 2 Pokemon. We are getting Gold and Silver Pokemon in Pokemon Go. How do I know that? Because this is a very aggressive marketing strategy, and it is all based around, or largely based around, Gen 1 Pokemon that evolve into Gen 2 Pokemon. For instance, we are getting a legendary pin collection, which is going to give us promo cards of Politoed, Slowking, Crobat, Blissey, and Bellossom. What do they all have in common? Well, Politoed evolves from Poliwag, Slowking evolves from Slowpoke, Crobat evolves from Zubat, Blissey evolves from Chansey, and Bellossom evolves from Oddish. Now, a couple of those are, of course, alternates. Poliwag can also evolve into Poliwrath, Slowpoke can also evolve into Slowbro, and Oddish can also evolve into Vileplume. These are Gen 2 Pokemon that evolved from Gen 1 Pokemon. You also get a Crobat Collector's Pin, and if, like me, you love these pins, that is a good thing. Do you need any more proof? Well, I have got a little bit more proof for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting pins of Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. They are going to be released in a very similar way, and by very similar I mean identical, to the Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno pin packs we got after Pokemon Go was released. Now, the legendary dogs, as they are known, are the Gen 2 equivalent of the legendary birds, so it would only make sense that Pokemon would release these pins around about the release of Gen 2 Pokemon in Pokemon Go to essentially make us either want to buy the pins because we've seen them in Pokemon Go, or want to pick up Pokemon Go again because we've seen the pins out and about on our travels. And all of this, I think, made enough for a PTCG radio news hit. Maybe you're excited about being able to pick up Scizor in a little collection. Nice and cheap, nice and easy. That's good news. Maybe you're excited about Gen 2 Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Maybe you've stopped playing Pokemon Go and you're just excited about some of the new products and pins that you're going to be able to buy. Either way, I hope we've covered it. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There is a comment section. Tell me if you like these news hits, give me some feedback, but of course, be nice. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already. Follow me on Twitter @TheWassy, and the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.